What part of that journey then are you most proud of? And is it the process or is there something else? I hope there's something else, but I'll leave you to answer.
Do you know what? This is going to sound a bit crazy, but I'm actually most proud of just doing it, just actually doing the business, because I'm going to be honest with you, I totally underestimated it. My thought a year ago was, I'll just turn it into an agency like that, and it was like, oh, it's like £12 in Company's House to register a limited company. That will be fine. I completely underestimated what it would mean to run a business. The simple things like the paperwork that's involved when you register your company, which we now help businesses with, because it's like the amount of letters I received, and I was like, I need to be aware of when corporation tax is due and all this. That's just one thing. Then it's the actual managing the people that I'm, putting out there, managing the clients, the actual running of a business and forecasting, your budgets and all that stuff, and day-to-day running of a business is massive. It is absolutely massive. So I am most proud of the fact that I am doing it. I've totally thrown myself in a deep end, but I'm loving it. It's working. I'm doing it. It's really hard because I didn't know what it was going to be. I thought I knew what it was going to be back in January, but it's completely evolved as time's gone on, which I think is the same for every business. It's never exactly what you think it's going to be, is it? So it's all very positive, but it's just, I couldn't have preempted this. The companies I work with or have worked with in my life are all relatively small. I mean, the biggest is probably about 35 people. It's not big corporates. So I'm talking on a small and medium business size. So, the leader is generally the person who's also the company founder or driving the company. So I feel like the leader, what I've seen them do right is drive that company to what it, the direction it should be going in. But it's taking the team with them, that's quite very valuable and really important. It's the trust, isn't it? I once worked with a company where, this was years and years ago, there was a snow day. This was way before working at home, time, but there was a snow day and we all had to work from home, and they just kept calling meetings throughout the day to check that we were working. And it was just like, I found I worked in that scenario, I worked harder from home than I did in the office because there were less distractions. And also I kind of wanted to prove that I could work from home because I wanted it to be a thing. But yeah, I feel like the trust is, the biggest issue. Most people want to have that flexibility of working from home, and I don't think that they'd take the mick. I think they do a good job. And I think that people tend to work, like I say, harder when they're in their element, in their comfortable surroundings with their coffee from their coffee machine, and I think there just needs to be that trust there. I sort of went with the kind of theme of my business in that I outsourced a lot, and it was so freeing, and it meant that things like my website, for example, I got one of the VAs to build, and she did all the branding, right? I would never have come up with those colours for my branding, it's like yellow and pink. I would never have chosen that. I don't know what I would have gone for, but it would never have looked like that. My social media is run by one of my awesome VAs, and I would never be able to do what she does. And actually, every now and again, I try and do a little story. When I go live, I then put it into a story, and I always mess it up. Yesterday, I had to be can you fix it, please? Because it's not at all in keeping with our grid. The image I've put on it, it just doesn't work. And she had to delete it and redo it, basically. But yeah, basically what I'm saying is, I could have easily have sat there and done every single element of my business and loved it and done it well, But by releasing it to someone else, A, it's brought a whole different element to the business, which I would never have done. B, it's given me time to think about the bits I should be thinking about, the direction of the business, the overseeing of it, it's given me so much headspace. And yeah, so I would highly advise it, and it's very addictive as well.
And there's a kind of fundamental thing with leadership of never expect someone else to do something you're not willing to do yourself. But Where that falls down is if you're managing some really niche specialists who've spent years and decades learning how to do their thing, you're never in a million years going to replicate that.
No.
So it's a question of balance. I think you're going to have a bit of one and a bit of another.
Yeah, I think it's important to understand everything in your business, but I personally don't think you have to be able to do everything, but you do need to understand. Like SEO, for example, has always confused me. And now I have these SEO freelancers working for me, which is great because they're like gradually teaching me what it means. But yeah, like I understand it now, but I'm not going to go and do it.